Today our topic is development of embryo in monocotyledon. Actually, the early development of dicot and monocot embryo are similar up to globular stage. Up to globular stage development, it is similar in dicot and monocot embryo. So actually, the layer formed around the cell and finally oospore is formed. The oospore divided transversely to form suspensor cell towards to the micropyle and embryonic cell towards to the chelagel side. So actually, the oospore cell divide transversely and form two cells. One cell towards to the micropyle, that is called it as a suspensor. The cell towards to the chelagel, that is called as an embryonic cell. The embryonic cell divide transversely once again and form terminal towards to this side is a terminal cell. Towards to the upper side it is called a middle cell. The terminal cell repeatedly divided. This terminal cell repeatedly divide and form a globular embryo. And this middle cell globular embryo, which later it is formed as a cotyledon and plumule. The middle cell gives rise to a hypocotyle and a radical. So let us see the monocotyledon structure. In grass family, the cotyledon is called as a scutellum. In grass family, the cotyledon is called scutellum. It is a shield-shaped structure. One shield-shaped structure that's situated one side of the embryonic axis. This is an embryonic axis actually that's situated one side of the embryonic axis. That is called as a scutellum. At the lower end of the embryonic axis, this is an embryonic axis. This is entirely embryonic axis. At the lower end of the embryonic axis, there is a radical, and it is covered by the root cap, enclosed by undifferentiated sheet that is called as a coleorhiza. So one side of the scutellum embryonic axis is present. Lower end of the embryonic axis has a radical and it is covered by the root cap, and the apex of this radical root cap is protected by a shield, a undifferentiated sheet is called as a coleorhiza. The portion of the embryonic axis above the level of attachment of the scutellum. The portion of the embryonic axis above the level of scutellum. Attachment of the scutellum. This is attachment of the scutellum towards the embryonic axis. Above this level, there is one structure is called it as a epicotyle. This epicotyle has a shoot apex. This is a epicotyle. It has a shoot apex, and which later developed as a plumule, and few leaf primordia enclosed a hollow foliar structure. Leaf-like structure is enclosed the shoot apex, that is called as coleoptile or coleoptile. The reduced second cotyledon in some grasses is called as a epiblast. The reduced cotyledon in some second cotyledon in some grasses is called as a epiblast. So this is the structure of monocot embryo. This comes for 5 marks in board examination and also comes in the diagrammatic questions in the NEET examination. So this is the development of embryo in monocotyledon. Structure of dicot seed. So actually the dicot seed has this is a ovule, for example. This is covered by the integuments, outer and inner integuments. So these are formed as a coat, seed coats, seed coat. Outer seed coat is called it as a testa. Inner seed coat is called it as a tegmen. So the entire seed is covered by the outer testa, inner tegma. So there is a scare present on the seed, that is called it as a hilum. So the hilum is a scare on the seed coat through which it is connected to the fruit. So for example, this is a seed, it is a gram seed. So here there is a scare like structure, this is called it as a hilum. So the hilum, near the hilum there is a pore, small pore present above the hilum. This is called it as a seed pore or micropyle. So we see this micropyle here. This is a micropyle. This is a scare. This is a micropyle. These two are in dicotyledon seed. These two are cotyledons. These cotyledons are covered by two coats, testa and tegma. So next, so in this cotyledon, two fleshy cotyledons present in the seed, and middle there is a embryonic axis. This embryonic axis, for example, this is a seed. These are the fleshy seed coats. Middle there is a embryonic axis. This embryonic axis below the seed coats, this is called it as a radicle. This is called it as a plumule. So the plumule is modified as a shoot, radicle is modified as a root. Plumule is modified as a shoot, radicle is modified as a root. Such a way seed, plumule and cotyledons are present. So actually in some seeds like castor, endosperm is present around the embryo. So but in beans like pea, endosperm is absent. Already we discussed about that. Endosperm is absent in the bean and pea seed. But in castor like some seeds, endosperm is present above the embryo. So this is about the structure of dicot seed. Next, coming to the structure of monocot seed. Usually monocot seeds are endospermic, but some seeds are non-endospermic. Usually most of the monocots are endospermic seed. That means endosperm is retained in these seeds. The seeds of cereals such as maize and seed coat is thin and fused with the pericarp. Actually, in monocot ovary, only one ovule is present. That means inside the fruit, one seed only present. That particular seed coat is covered with the pericarp. This is the seed coat. The seed coat is covered with the pericarp. There is no gap between the fruit wall and the seed coat. There is no gap between the fruit wall and the seed coat. So the endosperm is massive and full of food reserves. So actually in monocotyledon seed, already we discussed it. It contains the endosperm. The endosperm is massive. It is full of food reserve. The outermost layer of the endosperm, it is call it as a protein layer, is called it as a alluron layer. This is a alluron layer. The endosperm is covered by a layer, is called it as a alluron layer. This allular layer is rich in proteins. Very, very important point here. Rich in proteins. Rich in protein. So one side a embryo small and situated in a groove. One end of that embryo is present. One end of this endosperm, this embryo is present. Embryo is present. The large shield-shaped embryo is called it as a scutellum. This is called it as a scutellum. Scutellum. Next, the embryonic axis is present inside the cotyledon. So this is called it as a epicotyle. Epicotyle has a shoot apex. Shoot apex is later it is modified as a plumule. Plumule later it is modified as a shoot. So it is covered by a sheet-like structure is called a coleoptile. Coleoptile. So below this embryonic axis, this is called as a radicle. It later modified as a root, and this is covered by undifferentiated sheet of tissue that is called a coryza. Coryza. So this is about the monocot seed. This is also very, very important diagram for the board examination. Based on this diagram, different questions are asked in KSET examination or NEET examination. And significance of the seed. Significance of the seed. So actually the integuments, whatever it is covered by the seed coat, those protect the inner embryo and the cotyledon. Through the micropyle of the seed, the water entered and started germination. And germination started, then it give the plantlet. Next, when the seed matures, when this seed matures, the water content inside the seed reduces. Relatively, it get dry, and it enter into the dormancy. When the seed matures, the water content in the seed get reduces and get dry, and metabolic activity gradually decreases, and the embryo enters into the state of inactivity. State of inactivity is called it as a dormancy. Dormancy. When water content inside the seed, when seed reduces the water content at the maturity, the metabolic activity inside the seed, inactivated inside the seed, and the seed enter into the dormancy period. Dormancy. This is called as a dormancy. When favorable conditions come, this seed get water, oxygen from the surrounding. When the favorable conditions come, this seed get the water, oxygen, and it started germination. Before the germination, seed should disperse from one place to other place. So actually, after the maturity, seed get dry and finally it dispersed. So for the dispersing seed from one place to other place, it has some adaptations. So those adaptations helpful for adaptation means some characters are present, some structures are present which helps in the dispersal of seed. So those are called as adaptations. Different seeds have different types of adaptation. Some of them have hairy-like structure, hairy structure. So because of the hairy structure, it float into the air. Through that, it is through the air it is dispersed from one place to other place. Some of them have some fibrous material. Because of the dry fibrous material, when they dispersed into the when they release into the water, they float on the surface of water. Because of that, they move from one place to other place. When they get suitable substrate or land, it get germinated. So like that, different types of adaptive features are present in the seed to disperse. to disperse. One more example, some of the seeds are attached to the animals. Through the animals, they disperse from one place to other place. When they get suitable substratum or land, then they start germination. And some of the a fruit is an adaptation for dispersing seeds. Coconut fruit floats on water. Martinia, a tiger claw plant, attaches to the fur of animal. Through that it is dispersed. Seeds of guava and fig are eaten by birds, which are not digestible, but their seed coat is softened for quick germination. The fruits attach the animal by providing food for the dispersal of seed. So this is a adaptive characters in the seeds for the dispersal. Smallest seed. Some orchids seeds microscopic and many in number in each fruit. The seed weight is 0.81 micrograms and measure 85 microns. This is the smallest seed. And the largest seeds of Lutetia maldivica are largest seeds with 30 cm long, 90 cm circumference and weight 18 kgs. The seeds of Lutetia maldivica are largest seeds with 30 cm long, 90 cm circumference and weight 18 kgs. So this is the largest seed. Smallest seed is having 0.81 micrograms and measure 85 micron. These are present in the orchids. In each fruit contain the many number of seeds. Next, seeds offer several advantages to the angiosperms. As we know, seed is covered by seed coats. It protects the entire seed, and it has many reserved food materials which are useful for the survival of the seed, and also it is useful for the germination of the seed. And the seeds are products of sexual reproduction. They form new genetic recombination that leads to the variation. Seeds are involved in the next generation. Seeds are basis for our agriculture. Duration and dormancy of the seed help in the preservation or storage of the seeds for the several days, or else we can several days to use those seeds for the next season. Next, seed viability. The viability means here the ability of seed to germinate and give rise to a seedling. Is called as a seed viability. After the formation of the seed, to get the seedling, it gets some rest. So the ability to give rise to a seedling is called as a seed viability. That seed viability, some seeds lose viability within the few months. The seeds lose viability within the few months. Some have viability. It varies from species to species. Some of them having a few days or few months, few years. Some seed lose viability within the few months. Some have viability for years together. The oldest is that Lupinus arcticus, excavated from Arctic tundra. The seed germinated and flowered after an estimated record of 10,000 years of the dormancy. So this Lupinus arcticus has a 10,000 years of the dormancy. After the 10,000 years, it will be germinate. That is the viability. So after the dormancy, 10,000 years of the dormancy, it is germinated. Recent record of 2,000 years old viable seed is of the date palm Phoenix dactylifera, discovered during the archaeological excavation in King Harold's palace near the Dead Sea. So that is a Phoenix dactylifera, the date palm. That is a date palm which has a 2,000 years of dormancy. After this dormancy, it will germinate and give the seedlings. So next concept is apomixis and polyembryony. Apomixis means it is a formation of the new individual directly through a asexual reproduction without fertilization. Without fertilization, new individuals are formed. This is called as a apomixis. Apomixis. Example, some species of Asteraceae and grasses. Some species of Asteraceae and grasses have they follow the apomixis. Without the fertilization, they form the new individual. And polyembryony. Polyembryony. Poly means many. Embryony means many embryos. Embryony means embryos. Many embryos. Polyembryony. Many embryos. The phenomenon of development of more than one embryo in the same seed is called as a polyembryony. The phenomenon of development of more than one embryo in the same seed is known as a polyembryony. So one seed may contain many embryos. Usually one seed can have the one embryo. But here in some situations, some plant seeds have the many embryos in one seed. That is called a polyembryony. It is discovered by Leeuwenhoek in citrus plant, lemon plants or lemon fruits. It is discovered by the Leeuwenhoek. Next one, simple polyembryony. Simple polyembryony means presence of more than one embryo sac in the same seed, hence fertilization of more than one egg. And they have more than one egg. Those are fertilized and form the many embryos. So that is called simple polyembryony. Example, Brassica. Brassica is a one mustard is one of the example. Adventitious from nucellar or integument cell is called it as a adventive polyembryony. So other than the egg, some other parts of the embryo sac also involved in the formation of the embryos. So those are nucellus tissue or integument of the cell. So those are involved in the formation of the many embryos. So example, Citrus and Mangifera indica. So let us see the diagram of polyembryony in the citrus. Here this is a zygotic embryo, this is an endosperm, this is a nucellar embryo, it is an integumentary embryo. So zygotic embryo formed from the fusion of male gamete with egg. This is zygotic embryo. It is a simple embryo. Or integuments or nucellus tissue is formed as embryos. In one embryo sac, one citrus seed, there are many embryos. This is called as a polyembryony. Next, fruit. What is a fruit? Fruit is a modified structure of the ovary. Ovary is modified as a fruit. Inside the ovary, ovules are present. This is a ovary. Inside, entire ovary is modified as a fruit. So inside the ovary, ovules are present. These ovules are modified as a seeds. So ovary wall, the ovary is covered by some wall, ovary wall. This ovary wall is modified as a pericarp, which is present in fruit wall. So this ovary wall is modified as a pericarp. This is called as a fruit wall. The entire ovary modified as a fruit. Inside the ovary, ovules are present. The ovules are modified as a seeds. So now ovules are the seeds present inside the ovary of the fruit. So ovary is modified as a fruit. Inside the ovules, inside the ovary, the ovules are modified as a seed. The ovary wall is modified as a fruit wall, that is a pericarp. So fruits may be a fleshy such as guava, orange and mango, dry such as groundnut, mustard. So fruits may be a fleshy or dry. You know that. Fleshy fruits are guava, orange, mango. Dry fruits are groundnut, mustard. So these are the etc. These are. So sometimes not only the ovary, other than the parts of the flower modified as a fruit. Such fruits are called as a false fruits. False fruits. You know that in some cases thalamus and other floral parts show proliferation along with the development of ovary wall. Such fruits are called as a false fruits. Apple, strawberry, cashew nut are the false fruit. So actually these fruits are modified structures of the thalamus. So those are called as a false fruit. Let us see the structures of the false fruit. Here this is an apple. Actually this is a ovary. So this ovary contains the seeds. But the edible portion is above this part. This is called as a fruit here. This is actually formed from the thalamus of the flower. In apple flower, thalamus is modified as a thalamus means what? Base of the flower. So the base is surrounded around the actual fruit, and then it gets fleshy, then it is edible. So this is a false fruit. This is a false fruit in the apple. So in cashew nut, in strawberry, thalamus is also modified as a fruit. You know, in cashew nut fruit. So actually this is a nut. This is actual true fruit. So this is also edible. This is a fleshy and edible. This is also a fruit. It is a false fruit. It is a thalamus, modified structure of the thalamus. Thalamus means base of the flower. So this base of the flower is modified as a fruit. So this is called it as a false fruit. False fruit means other than the ovary, if any floral part is modified as a fruit, that is called as a false fruit. True fruit means ovary becomes and modified as a fruit. That is called true fruit. Next concept is parthenocarpic fruits. Parthenocarpic fruits means in some plants fruit develop without fertilization. Without the fertilization, fruits are formed. Due to that, seedless fruits are formed. If fertilization is not taken place, how the seeds are formed in the fruit, how the seeds are formed in the ovary, there is no seed formation. Such seedless fruits are called as a parthenocarpic fruits. Usually we can see in the banana and grapes. So you know that what is the reason for that? So in this banana before the fertilization, some hormones like auxin and gibberellins are synthesized before the fertilization of the banana flower. In banana flower, auxin and gibberellins are synthesized. Those auxin and gibberellin prevent the fertilization process, and then they developed as a parthenocarpic fruit. Banana is a natural parthenocarpic fruit. So that if you want to develop the parthenocarpic fruit, we need to apply some chemicals like hormones, some chemical like hormone, those are auxin and gibberellin. When we apply the auxin and gibberellin, we get the seedless fruit. Those are called it as a parthenocarpic fruit. Naturally, banana is a parthenocarpic fruit. Before the fertilization in the banana flower, the auxin and gibberellins are synthesized. Those prevent the fertilization mechanism. Thereby, a banana developed as a parthenocarpic fruit. It is a natural parthenocarpic fruit. So, this is today's topic. Thank you.